What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about here on a daily basis. We got some major news going on here, and we're going to discuss in this video. The House of Representatives passes a major bill, but what will happen here in the Senate? Will Remember, we used to have The Graveyard by Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell used to actually brag about his graveyard. He would send bills to die. Well, is there a new graveyard now? I'll give you the details here on that. And also, let's jump right in here. Thanks so much for liking and sharing these videos. Here we go. Yeah, major story here going on with the death of Tyre Nichols. Have you heard about this or seen the body cam video releases here? Yeah, me and my wife seen this here. Not sure that I can show this to you here on YouTube. I'm not gonna show that here. It's very graphic here. But now the Tennessee Sheriff's Office has opened new investigations into two deputies here. This comes after already 5 Memphis police officers were indicted and have posted bail already. They were subsequently fired and face charges, including second-degree murder if convicted. They could face up to 60 years in prison. Yeah, that's right. You can also see mostly peaceful protests sprung up in Memphis, Los Angeles, and Washington, D.C. Friday night following the video's release. These are the 5 mugshots of the Memphis police officers charged with multiple felonies who have now posted bonds and are out, but will be getting their day in court. So, yeah, it's a very tough situation here. He did flee from police, but obviously what they did was very wrong. They did not need to do what they did to subdue a single man. It was definitely not needed. They could have subdued him and handcuffed him, and they went over and above and beyond what needed to be done to subdue a single man. I understand that he fled from police, but obviously that did not need to be done. But now, in addition to that, the Tennessee Sheriff's Office has opened an investigation into two of their deputies that arrived on scene as well. So we'll be seeing what happens there. The problem here is that there was a camera mounted above the intersection here that caught a lot of it on tape. But also remember that all these officers have body cameras on them. And honestly, when I seen this footage, it honestly reminded me of the Rodney King episode that happened, what was it, like back in the 90s, 30 years ago. And, you would think nowadays in this day of age that this really wouldn't happen nowadays with these. And don't get me wrong, we've seen a lot of statements from police officers and chiefs and sheriff's officers, police chiefs saying that we don't condone this. This isn't really the what police conduct is on our officers, and we don't condone this type of stuff. And I truly agree that I think that they just got really ticked off and got caught up in the heat of the moment, and that they did something they shouldn't have. But these guys got to remember that they're being recorded all the time, not just by a street camera that they probably didn't know that happened, but they got body cameras on. That should just they got to remember, and there was like 10 of them. How can they not remember that they have body cameras on every single one of them? How can they do something like this? It really just pains me to think that this can happen. It's just so sad. It's just so sad. And I honestly think that incidences like this are being lessened and lessened, honestly, because of the body cameras. It's a good thing. It's a good thing, and they can't turn them off. And sometimes they fall off or something like that. But when there's multiple officers, obviously, they're all not falling off, and they were caught. There's multiple body cameras on this. It's a good thing because it protects people. Now, obviously, this guy ran away and he shouldn't have did that, but what happened afterwards was completely uncalled for. And you guys can let me know your thoughts here on this, but these police officers gotta know that they're being recorded. And now they're gonna probably go to prison for 20 or 30, 40, up to 60 years each. How can they forget that? And now they're gonna all lose their lives for decades and decades or whatever, their sentences. And it's just like, how can they do this? You guys let me know your thoughts here on this. It's just unbelievable. Unbelievable here. And hopefully this sends a message out to probably a lot of good policemen that probably lose their temper in a otherwise bad situation. Because if you watch On Patrol, or if you watch some of these police chase scenes, where some of these times where these guys are, there's other situations where they're literally fighting them, they're ramming them with cars, they're fleeing from them, there's people on drugs, there's all sorts of other situations, and they're dealing with this stuff day in and day out. There's sometimes they're getting shot at, and it just takes a toll on the police officers, and sometimes they let it get the best of them, and it's really a tough job. It's really a tough job. And it's probably the toughest job out there, besides maybe being in the army and being in full blown combat, right? And honestly, these guys probably get paid way too little for the job they have to deal with. It's really just it's almost a really tough thing to ask somebody to do this type of job, and then they got to remember that they're being recorded. Yeah, how do you do something like that? How do you do something like that? But yeah. So, anyways, I just want to say thank you out there to any police officers, or Army, Navy, anybody who defends our country, and just try to remember to do the right thing in a really tough circumstance, because nobody needs to deal with this, and it's tough all around for everybody. When you see something like this, you can't help but think of the families that lose loved ones. Really tough all around here. So let me know your thoughts here in the comments, because I can see it from both sides. Yeah, it's really, really a tough situation. Next up, so the House of Representatives, really just the Republicans, and I think there was one Democrat that voted on this. House Republicans passed bill to limit drawdowns on the Strategic Petroleum Reserves. So they've passed this bill in the House, but what might happen next? Here's what happened. The House approved a bill that seeks to set stipulations on when a president can withdraw oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Meanwhile, Chevron posts record profits, and pretty much almost all the oil companies are. And Elon Musk meets with the White House about electric vehicles. Yeah, so the House passed this bill intended to restrict the president's ability to release oil from the country's emergency supply. A bill aimed squarely at President Biden for his handling of rising gasoline prices last year. But if you've been watching my channel, you know that this, because a lot of mainstream news doesn't report on this. Gas in like 80%, 90% of the world has higher gas prices around the world. In fact, I will just show you here. There's very few countries actually that have lower gas prices than us. I actually got to change this to US dollars and US gallons, so we're all on the same kind of thing here. There's a few countries that have very cheap gas, it looks like, but countries like Venezuela that has 350% inflation and their dollars collapsing, and Iran and places you would never want to live, Kuwait and Nigeria and stuff like that. Yeah, they have cheaper gas, but their dollar and stuff like that is, ridiculous. Russia, just a little bit cheaper than us, believe it or not that much cheaper. We're at like 350 or something like that. So yeah, it's a little bit cheaper, but you'd also have to pay in Russian rubles and stuff like that. And you know what that's like, right? So here's the USA right here, 374. We're actually a little bit cheaper than that right now. But here is all the countries here above this that are actually higher than the USA here. You can see them. Australia, here's China, 456 a gallon, US dollars, US gallons. Japan, India, 483. Canada, 490 a gallon, in case you were wondering. Thailand, Kenya, Malta, Poland, $5.71. Chile, Lithuania, Ireland, $6.46 a gallon. Austria, New Zealand, the United Kingdom, almost $7 a gallon, 6.94. In case you were wondering, so we're at like 3.50 or something like that. There's 6.94, so $7 a gallon if you're rounding there. Germany, Europe's largest economy, $7.32 a gallon. So again, let me see here. Yeah, so AAA has our national average gas prices right now at 3.51. Yeah, so $3.51 on the nose, 3.51. So literally double that would be 7.02. So Germany, like the largest economy in Europe, is more than double the price of gas. This is in US dollars and US gallons. Switzerland, 7.32. Netherlands, 7.49. Italy, go to Italy, $7.58 a gallon. Sweden, 7.60. France, 7.71. Finland, 7.79. Greece, 7.78, almost $8 a gallon. Denmark, 8.44. Iceland, 8.50. Norway, 8.80. Hong Kong, $11 a gallon. So take your pick, any country in Europe, and it's like double the price of ours. Yeah, so again, I'm a numbers guy, I'm a stats guy. I like to look at things, I like to look at inflation. Again, most of Europe actually has higher than inflation than we do. Canada has higher inflation than we do, has higher gas than we do. So I just like to look at that kind of stuff and compare it. Is it our fault? Is it Biden's fault? Is it Trump's fault? Is it what is the reason here? And this is stuff that really relates to me. I'm a numbers guy. I'm a stats guy. This is how if you run a business. I've been running businesses for years. My Amazon business. Before that, I had a limo and bus company with multiple different. I grew from one limo to over 15,000 customers. I had 100 employees at one point. And again, it's just kind of how I've always worked here. I want to know the numbers. Okay, who's to blame with inflation? But when you look at all these other countries around the world, and we're actually one of the cheapest with gas in the whole world. It really kind of makes you wonder. And the same thing with inflation. You could literally just, I wish there was a chart like that for inflation. Maybe there probably is. If there is, please email it to me. Or maybe I'll find one here. But it's really the kind of same thing. Just Google inflation in pretty much any other major country. And believe it or not, we're actually one of the lowest. I know it might seem crazy. It might sound crazy, but like you Google inflation in Canada, and we're lower than that. You Google inflation in Germany, the largest economy in all of Europe, and we're lower than them. In fact, there's a lot of countries in Europe that have inflation at like 11%, 10%, 9%, and we're at 6.5% right now. You look at their gas prices, and you could easily see how that could be true. Their gas prices are double the cost of ours. So if their gas prices are double the cost, imagine what their food prices are. Remember that every single thing has to get shipped to a grocery store via a truck, a diesel truck using diesel prices, and all that stuff costs money. So again, they're probably all trying to blame their President Biden's or whoever their president is, right? And I'm sure they're all tired of it as well. It would be interesting if Trump was reelected and gas prices went up, because realistically, honestly, I personally think, you guys let me know your thoughts here in the comments, but if you just look at gas prices all around the world, and if you look at this chart right here, this is the gas production directly from the EIA, U.S. Energy Information administration from the government here directly. This is the U.S. weekly oil production of the U.S. You can see what happened here. We were at the all-time high, and it had just gone up throughout the years here. But when the pandemic hit, so we were at the all-time high when Trump was president. You could see it kind of went up every single year. But when the pandemic hit, we went to a significant low. We went from 13,000 barrels a day to 10,000, 9,700 barrels a day. This is while Trump was still president. Okay. So the pandemic hit hard. Trump was still president. And when Trump left here as president, it was like 10,900. And that's when Biden came in to office. Okay, so this is when Trump left office, 10,900 barrels a day, and Biden came into office. This is like right here, the first week of when Biden came in and Trump left, okay? And then the oil production went up a little bit at a time every month until now we're at 12,200. So again, when Biden's been there, the oil production has went up a little bit at a time. It's went up, 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 up into where we are, and we're almost back to the pre-pandemic highs. Now, again, it dropped significantly at the end when Trump was still president because of what happened with the pandemic. Okay. Now, if Trump was reelected, I don't know if it would be that different because the economy was recovering from the pandemic. And you can see here, I mean, there's a lot of rhetoric that, oh, Biden stopped oil production and this and that. But remember that, like, that Keystone pipeline that Biden stopped, his first day in office or whatever, that was never in production. Or I'm sorry, that was never completed. And remember, that's just a pipeline. It doesn't produce any oil. A lot of people get that confused, right? That's just a pipeline that pipes oil from one place to another. It doesn't produce any oil. And the government is still leasing out new oil leases and still producing more oil than the day Biden came in office. So would it be that much different if Trump was in there? I mean, maybe we'd producing a little bit more oil or something like that, but we're actually producing more oil than the first day that Biden came in office. And remember that other countries around the world are paying twice as much that we are. So, I mean, you could let me know your thoughts here in the comments. Yeah, sure, maybe they would have completed the Keystone XL pipeline. I think that would have cost $8 billion and it would have took like a year or two to complete or something like that. But that wouldn't have produced any more oil. It's just a pipeline that carries oil from one point to another. It doesn't produce any oil. So, I mean, let me know your thoughts here on this. Remember that the oil and gas companies are already generating record high profits, higher than they ever have in the history of the gas companies. So don't forget they're making more money than they ever have. Yeah, so there's a problem with that. This new bill, the problem with it is that it's passed in the House. This legislation requires the federal government to develop a plan to increase the percentage of federal lands leased for new oil and gas production if it wants to withdraw oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. It contains an exception for severe energy supply interruption. Leasing is an early step in a lengthy process of setting up new oil exploration on public lands and waters. It takes an average of more than 4 years for leased lands to turn into additional oil. But the problem with this is only one Democrat voted for it in the House. Remember, we used to talk about Mitch McConnell's graveyard, where Mitch McConnell would, when he was the leader of the Senate, he would send bills to die. Now it's maybe Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer's graveyard, where he will just send bills to die if the Democrats don't agree to it. So maybe it's a reversal of roles here, where if the Democrats don't agree with something that maybe targets President Biden credits himself for releasing the Strategic Oil Petroleum Reserve to lower gas prices. His quotes were that he released it when gas prices were high put more oil on the market to add additional supply to help lower the prices because there's more supply on the market. And then when oil prices come down, that they would refill them and buy them at a lower price and then actually save taxpayer money. Whether or not that happens, we'll see because they still have to refill it. But he personally thinks that he lowered prices. Whether or not that's the reason why gas prices came down, well, we don't know. Problem is that this bill is unlikely to pass the House and probably will go to Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer's graveyard. So we will see. Let me know your thoughts here in the comments, and I will keep you up to date here with everything going on here in our country on a daily basis. If you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe down below to our YouTube channel. It's completely free to do so. New videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And click the bell icon after you subscribe so you don't miss out on new videos. And thanks for liking and sharing these videos as well. Here's some videos you can watch next. Here is some great news for Social Security if you haven't seen that video yet. And here is some new $1,000 and $1,500 checks going out here. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video.